Where's my good boy? Are you sleepy? You do know you're getting some little brothers in a few weeks, and you're going to be in for a shock because they're going to want to play with you. I think you need to prepare yourself, Sprout.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Now that it is January, I can officially say this is the month I'm getting 2 new baby rats. If my voice starts breaking in this video, that's because I've already filmed this once, and then when I looked back at the footage, I realised that I was filming with my underwear drying in the background, so I pulled the camera around this way and we're going to try again. So if you've been following me on Twitter, Instagram or on here, you'll know that the past couple of months I've been looking for some new rats. I've been looking on rescues, on selling sites, I've been talking to breeders, and I can say that it has now finally worked out. I am getting 2 boys from a breeder in Scotland. The breeder they're coming from is called Hawthorn Rats. I'll leave her information in the description, but she is a reputable breeder and she's also friends with one of my friends, Ratty, who also has a YouTube channel, and they've sorted me out with 2 boys that are super cute, and I could not be more excited. So these are the 2 boys I'm going to be getting. This one is a black capped and this one is a pearl dumbo, and I have named both of them. I'm pretty sure that I have settled on names for them, but I'm going to keep it a secret. So obviously they are coming from Scotland and I don't live anywhere near Scotland, so we're kind of meeting somewhere in the middle. They are currently over 8 weeks old, they are ready to go, but she is kindly holding on to them for me until I am ready to meet her and pick them up. So I think they're going to be about 13 weeks old when I finally pick them up in a couple of weeks. So I am actually picking them up at the Bradford Small Animal Show that is at the Doncaster Racecourse on the 19th of January, that is a Saturday. And I'm meeting them there, I'm going to the show, so if you live in the area or you're already planning to go to the show, please come and say hi because I'm going to be in the rat section for most of the day, pretty much just sat there looking at my new boys all day. So if you are already planning on going, I do really want to see you, so please do come and say hi if you're already going to the show. I've never been to this show before, so I'm not entirely sure how it works or if it's even any good, but I'm going to be there all day anyway, so I'll leave the information linked in the description. If you are interested in coming to a show, it has like rabbits, and I don't think it has mice on that day, I think they're on the Sunday, but there is plenty of different animals to look at on the day. So yeah, I am picking them up in about 2 weeks time, so I am filming this video a bit early. It doesn't hurt to be too prepared, but I won't lie to you, I do also need some content, so that's why I'm filming this video this early. So it has been 2 years since I've had baby rats, which I can't believe it's gone that quickly. The last babies I had was Sunday and Sprout, and I got them on about the 28th of January, I believe, so it's almost been 2 years. So obviously I don't need to prepare like someone would if they were a first time rat owner. I have all of the supplies I need. I kind of hoard rat supplies so I don't need to go and buy anything, and obviously I have all of the knowledge I need to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But if you are going out and getting your first rats, obviously you need to make sure that you are prepared and you've got all of the supplies like the cage. You need to decide what kind of food you're going to feed them and everything like that. And you also want to make sure you are researching as well, all the way up until when you get your rats, and also continuing to do your research once you've got them as well. I do have a video on preparing for rats if you are a first time rat owner. I made that well over 2 years ago now, and it's kind of cringe. I can't personally watch it back because it cringes me out, so it is there if you want it. I will leave it linked in the description, but I'm warning you now, it is pretty cringy. So the first thing that I've had to do is plan my travel. Even though I am pretty prepared when it comes to getting rats, I still need to do some preparation just to make sure that everything goes okay. So the first thing I've had to do is plan my travel. Whether you're travelling to the breeder or whether you're travelling to a rescue or you're meeting a breeder at a show, you do need to make sure you have your transportation to get there. So whether you're getting a train or you're arranging with someone to take you, you do need to make sure that everything lines up to make sure you can get there on the day. So the biggest thing for me is I need to set up a separate cage to my current boys. If you're not familiar with rat dynamics and behaviour, you can't just go out and buy your new rats, bring them home and plop them into your current rat's cage, because most of the time that is going to end in a nightmare. So you will have to go through a proper introduction process. I have plenty of videos about that on my channel, which I'll leave in the description if you are interested, but you can't just put your rats straight away into your old rat's cage because that is going to end up with them fighting or possibly killing the new baby rats. So you are going to want to make sure you have a separate cage for them, or if you have a big cage like a Critter Nation or the one that I have, you can split that sometimes into 2 sections and keep them separate until they're big enough or until you can introduce them. So that is the main thing that I need to do, so we'll insert the footage of me setting up their temporary cage here.
So the cage I'm going to be using is a fur cage, which is currently stored right at the top of the wardrobe in my pet room, so I need to get that down first and then start setting it up. So obviously with it being in my wardrobe for a while, it is quite dusty, and it also has random bits of rat bedding in there as well. My mum actually got me this hand vac for Christmas, which is super helpful because this bedding gets everywhere and it's so annoying. So I'm using that to suck out any of the bedding that is in there and any of the dust, and then after that I'm making sure that it is clean just by giving it a quick wipe down to make sure it's clean for the new rats. So once that's done, I can start putting in the bedding into the base of the cage. The bedding I use with my rats and my mice is a hemp-based bedding called Orbios. I really like this bedding. I've been using it for a while now without any issues, and I think that my boys at the breeder are on a similar bedding, so they won't have any reactions having to switch over to a different bedding because they're already on a similar one, if not the exact same one. So I'm just filling up the base of the cage with the bedding. So obviously I have set this up right next to my current boy's cage. This is not where it's going to stay, and this is a common mistake that a few people make when they get new rats, is they place the cages side by side so that the rats can see each other, and this is a introduction method, but it's not one that I recommend because this can cause the rats to get agitated and frustrated. They can't interact with each other even though they can see each other, and this can cause issues later on with introductions. So I will be pushing this cage all the way to the other side of the room, or even taking it and placing it in the living room downstairs. So yeah, this is how the temporary cage is looking. It's not the most exciting setup that I've ever done, but it is only temporary until I can introduce them to my current boys in a couple of weeks. So starting at the bottom, we just have the Orbios bedding that I mentioned earlier, and then next to that is a cute little donut tube that I had lying around. I've also given them a water bowl if they want to use one, and then also this plastic hide that I had spare as well, and then also this plastic tunnel on the left. I've also given them a few green chews scattered around the cage, and then also some hammocks like this yellow one here, and then also some bendy bridges. I have so many spare bendy bridges, so I put 2 of those into the cage as well, and then also there is another green chew at the top. So at the top is a nice big hammock that Dainty Paws UK made for us, and then next to that is a hanging chew toy, and then next to that is a hanging basket. I think it is a Halloween one, but it's not the nicest thing to stand on, so I put a flat hammock in there as well as a whimsy for them to chew when they get here. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The only thing I do need to add into the cage is a water bottle. I decided that I wanted to get a fresh one instead of just using one of the ones that I already have. So I do need to go out in the next few weeks before I get them and just buy them a fresh water bottle to put on this side as well. The only other thing that I wanted to put in here was some sort of rope. I thought I had a third IKEA tie holder, but I can't find it for the life of me, so I might have to go to IKEA in the next few weeks and pick one of those up as well. Something that I meant to talk about but I forgot to talk about is quarantining. It's a really good practice with any animal you bring into your home to quarantine them in a separate airspace to any current animals you already have, just to make sure they don't transmit anything they're currently carrying over to your current animals as well. So ideally you do want to try to quarantine animals that come into your home, especially if they are a rescue or from a pet store, because these have unknown backgrounds that you don't know if they have any health issues, and you want to monitor them and make sure they don't just before you bring them into the same room as your current animals to make sure they don't get sick too. Obviously this is only possible if you have a separate room or a separate airspace to do this. Because I live in a small house, I don't always have the room to do this, but I will keep them downstairs if I have to, especially if they are a rescue or something. But because I know where mine are coming from and they have been closely monitored, not only by the breeder but also my friend, I do feel pretty confident keeping them in the same room as my current boys and also with my mice as well. But I might possibly put the cage downstairs, as I said earlier, but it is really ideal to quarantine if you can. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to hand you back to Emmy of the past now.
So one of the last things I had to do to prepare for them is go and pick up this from my mum's house. Because we do live in quite a small house, I do have to store some of my stuff at my mum's house. So I did go and pick this up. This is a pet specific hoodie that has like a pocket in the front, and you can put the babies in here to bond with them. So I think this does come from China, so I'll leave the link to it in the description. I would recommend, if you do want to get one of these for yourself, to size up because they are a bit small when it comes to the actual hoodie itself, but these are really great when it comes to bonding. You can put the babies into the pouch and it keeps them close to you while you go around and do whatever you want, and it also keeps them close to your smell as well, so this is a really good idea when it comes to bonding with your new rats. So I use this when I got Sunday and Sprout as babies, and it does work really well. Obviously, because I am getting them from a breeder, they will be selectively bred and also handled regularly to make sure they are friendly, but obviously they do know people but they don't know me, so it is a really good idea to make sure you are doing the bonding process with them, even if you do have ones that are pretty shy and are from a rescue or from a pet store. Even though I don't recommend that, you can just chuck them into this bonding pouch or into this bonding hoodie, and it does work really well just to get them used to you over time. Of course, you don't need to buy a specific hoodie like this one. You can just use a regular hoodie. Instead of wearing it the normal way that you would wear a hoodie, you can turn it the other way around and put the hood at the front like this. It does look quite weird, but it does work. And you can put the babies into the hood section, and again, this just keeps them really close to you to help you bond with them. So yeah, I'm going to be using that when my boys come home. I'm going to keep them in the front section just to help them bond with me when they first come home. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Do let me know down in the comments if you're excited to see my new boys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!